about what our Stevens marketing department has to offer for trade shows. Some different things to consider when going to your different events and trade shows. How to request a booth from Stevens. Some preparation for your show as well as setting up your booth. Shipping the booth back to Stevens. How to promote your company at your trade show. Making sure that you're gaining the right lead information. And of course some do's and don'ts, some best practices for trade shows. And we will have a spot at the end to answer any questions that you may have. You can ask those questions by typing in the question actually in your panel, your webinar panel. So let's take a look a little bit about what we have to offer. In our marketing department here, we have some different booths and banners that are available for your order. And here we have some pictures showing here where we have a single screen banner on the upper. We have the double screen banner as well as some tabletops, a floor display, and we also have a national show booth as well that's shown on the right-hand side.
Danny, can people just, and Monica, can people just order the tablecloth if they want that?
Absolutely. You can definitely order just the tablecloth as well. And some of the things that go on the table, which we'll also talk about what's available with your booth. Each of the single banner screens here have actually market to a different group, whether it's your B2B business, your national account sales, whether it's your COD residential business, as well as commercial services, and a generic banner screen as well as the tabletop, and that also promotes everything about Stevens generically. In addition to the different banner screens, we do have the table covers that are available, as you can see here. We do have one also available for a round table, if that's something that you're interested in for your booth. The table covers that we have right now are 8 foot long, so they can work for a 6 foot or 8 foot table. In the picture, you can also see that on a table we have a fabric basket, we have a toy truck for display. We also provide you with different entry cards if you do anticipate that you're going to have a drawing, which would also include this fishbowl for your card collection, as well as different brochure display holders available for your booth. One thing to definitely consider before going to an event or trade show is taking a look at what all do you need to prepare for it, and what are your goals and objectives for attending the show. So we have different forms that are available on the Stevens shop, and Monica is going to show you here where they are located, which, by the way, I apologize. I'm Danielle Munch from the marketing department, and I am here with Monica Slater, our marketing assistant, as well as Barb Music, our director of marketing. When you're in the Stevens shop, we do have a section on the left-hand navigation called Trade Shows. If you hover over that, you can go right to your request forms. And under your request forms, you're going to find your trade show checklist, your contact lead sheet, the form to request a booth, as well as your goals and objectives. And we'll go over each one of these individually. But first, we're going to take a look at our checklist. Now, once you have downloaded those forms off of the Stevens shop by clicking that download button, the checklist and your request forms will actually open up in Word for you. And we'll take a look a little bit here at the checklist. When attending a trade show, it's very important to know who's going to actually register for the conference. As an agency, typically you're going to register for your own show. If you are an employee of Stevens and if you're attending the show, we have the ability to assist you in marketing as far as registering, and we'll go over how you can let us know. You want to make sure that you have the venue address. That's very important for us in order to ship the material. Typically, for agencies, what we'll do is we'll send the booth directly to your place at your company, especially if it's a local show that you're attending. However, if you're traveling farther, we do have the ability to send all the booths via UPS to the actual venue. You want to make sure that you do have your booth request form submitted to marketing. You're going to want to know your booth number. Any type of collateral materials that you will be ordering from the Stevens shop, you'll definitely want to make sure how many is attending the show, making sure that you have enough on order. If you do plan on providing any giveaways for your attendees at the show, you want to also make sure that we have those on order. As well as if you're traveling for the show, you want to take a look to make sure that you do have your accommodations, your airline reservations, your transportation, etc. Completed as well. And typically, if it's a larger show, your actual trade show manager will normally send emails out on any best rates that might be available at the hotel itself or hotels within the area. If marketing is going to be forwarding any type of emails or pre-marketing on your behalf, we would definitely need an attendee list, which we'll go over, as well as different, what exactly would we be discussing with your show? What is the market? Who are your buyers at your show? As well as the post-show information as well, which basically considers the same thing. Now we're going to switch over here. We're going to take a look at your goals and objectives. Again, it's very important that you make sure that you do have your goals and objectives set for attending an event or a trade show. As we know that trade shows and events can be very pricey, and we want to make sure that you're providing yourself with the best ROI possible. So you definitely want to take a look at the target market of the show. Does it make sense for you to attend the show? Are these the people that are going to buy your services? What are your goals for attending? What are your objectives of attending? Are you trying to gain X amount, if you're going to a chamber conference, for instance? Are you trying to gain 1 or 2 different accounts out of this? Are you trying to achieve X amount of COD moves, maybe at your home show or your local event? Another thing to really consider is not just attending the booth, but maybe trying to schedule booth meetings prior to. And we'll discuss that a little bit here, but here's basically kind of the detail of your goals and a little description of each of those. Are you looking to develop those relationships, and with whom? What is your expected revenue from the event? How many in-booth meetings are you going to gain, as well as taking a look at the number of leads? Now, the number of leads here, we have to remember that when you go to an event, it's not just the quantity of leads, it's the quality of leads.
And I think even talking about what makes something a lead, is it simply a name, contact information, or is there more about that?
We'll get into that. Yep. The next step here we're going to do is how exactly do you request a booth from Stevens? As Monica showed you earlier, you can download the request form right from the Stevens shop. And once that's downloaded, it'll upload in Word for you. And this is the steps that you would take to download. And we're going to walk through this form here. All the information that we ask for on this form is very important. It gives us all the vital data that we need in order to send the booth to the right venue, to the right company, to the right address, to the right person, as well as making sure that we are sending the correct booth for you. So this first section here is your basic detailed information. When are the show dates? When are you requesting a booth? The name of the show, location, etc. Your branch and agent number, as well as a phone number that we can contact you. Preferably, we would like to have a cell phone just in case you are traveling. That way we can connect with you if needed. One thing that's very important is we have a lot of trade shows that Stevens partakes in throughout the year. In fact, last year we had over 50. So it's very important for us and for you to make sure that you receive a booth, that we receive a notice prior to. We'd like to have that 4-week notice because short notice requests may not be filled on time. We may simply not have a booth available for you. If you are requesting marketing to coordinate or register your show, this section here is exactly where you would let us know that. If we are going to be registering or coordinating the show here, you will be responsible, marketing will only, if you're going to be registering and coordinating the show, marketing will only be responsible for sending you the booth. If you are requesting for marketing to register and coordinate the show, we will need to receive copies of any invoices, packets, registration information, etc., and that should be forwarded to Monica Slater in marketing. We also want to take a look at any anticipated expenses that you have. Not only could you register for the show, but if you're going to be sponsoring any events, such as a coffee hour, etc., what is the cost for those? And then the next step here is we get into the booth packages. Now, every single one of the booths that you order will include a table cover, your business card holders, as well as the fabric basket, fishbowl, and toy truck. If for some reason if you're not doing a giveaway and you don't need the fishbowl or the different cards for people to fill out their information, then if you could let us know, you can write that right on the sheet or type that in, that would be great. We have 4 different packages that are available here. The first one, Package A, is a single banner screen. That includes all of the information above, as well as one banner screen that you're allowed to select from down below. That show, as well as the double banner screens, work very well for 10 by 10 booths. They work very well for any of your chamber events or your local events, national accounts, or COD. If you do have a tighter booth area, or maybe just a table that you're allowed to have at an event, Package C would work best, and that includes our tabletop. And that piece actually sits right on top of the table, as well as the other information such as the toy truck, etc. The national show, Package E, that actually is only used for our large national events. Stevens does attend the National SHRM Show, which is your Society of Human Resource Managers, as well as Worldwide ERC. Currently, right now, because of the cost for shipping on that national show, or I'm sorry, that national booth, those are the only shows that we actually allow that booth to attend. And taking a look further down here, so once you have your booth package actually selected, the next thing you're going to let us know is what type of banner screen do you want. Now, typically, if you're doing that center display, all we have right now currently is that tabletop, the way to move, and that's a generic piece which covers the basics as far as residential, national, and commercial. We also have our different banner screens that are available as well. Each one here shows the business line that's available, as well as a little bit of description. As you know, our tagline is the way to move, so all of our banner screens do include that tagline, as well as the actual market for that banner screen. So for instance, the generic one, we have the way to move your family, business, employees nationally and globally. So that covers all of the business lines. And then we do go into the national, international, COD, and commercial services. As far as your giveaways, we will talk a little bit about that. However, the person that is attending the show typically is responsible for purchasing their giveaways and handling of any of the gift cards. However, you can contact marketing for any special requests. If you do have any questions, if you would like to ship any of the giveaways with your booth, we can definitely assist you through all of that. And same goes for the clatter material. All of our clatter material is available on the Stevens shop for you. We do ask if you want anything to be shipped with the booth directly, that you allowed at least 1 week lead time for the materials to be printed. And then when you do check out on the Stevens shop, you want to make sure that you indicate that you would like it shipped to Stevens here at headquarters. And as far as shipping goes, the actual booth itself, there is a charge to the agent for shipping of the display, as well as any unreturned or damaged items. And we do require at least a 2-week lead time for shipping. So that's why it's very important to not only get your booth request in for, at least try to get it in 4 weeks before the event, but there are some of the larger shows where we do have to ship booths to the warehouse, and sometimes the warehouse, they expect all materials to be there 2 weeks prior to show.
Danny, I'm a little confused. Under collateral materials, it says allow 1 week lead time for materials to be printed.
Printed.
And then the shipping says 2 weeks lead time.
Correct.
So is that 1 week lead time in addition to the 2 weeks?
Yes, we're just guiding you to let you know that your material could take up to 1 week. However, with the Stevens shop right now, material is printed within 3 to 5 business days if it's customized.
Okay, so that just means plan X extra ahead to get customized collateral material, and we still need that shipping time. Good.
Exactly. We're going to jump back here to our presentation. So preparing for your show. As said earlier, if you're requesting for marketing to send any of your materials to the show site or to you directly, we definitely need to have all that material shipped to headquarters. And that includes any of your collateral material as well as your giveaways. Any items that are stocked on the Stevens shop ship within 24 hours. However, if you're looking to customize any of your collateral material, that does take that 3 to 5 business days to ship. And also, preparing for your show, I would like to point out, too, that we do have different types of novelty items that are available on the Stevens shop. You can get to those on your left-hand navigation of the Stevens shop by going right to novelties. Here we have a few things that are shown. Some of the big hit items, for instance, your Stevens pink pen as well as your chapsticks. And soon to come, we do have the hand sanitizers that are available, as well as some plastic trade show bags. We do also have some larger, I don't want to say pricey, but a little more costly is your padfolios, which are actually very good for more of your top buyers that are at shows. So you are allowed, maybe you keep some of the pens and some of the chapsticks and things like that available to give to some prospects, but to provide any of your direct buyers a nicer gift. We are going to give you a few tips here as far as setting up your booth. You want to make sure that you always set your table at the back of the booth. You want to make sure that it's opening and inviting, because if you have everything up to the front of the booth, it says keep out. You want to make sure that you have all your pull-up banners towards the front of the display so that they can be seen from a distance. And don't clutter your table. Only keep those things that are pertinent to the service that you're trying to sell on the table. And don't be shy. Walk around the booth. Make sure that you're greeting customers in the aisle. Shipping the booth back. If you are an agent of Stevens, we will provide you with a UPS label that will be shipped with your booth to your place of business or to your venue of your choosing. And we will schedule for a pickup at your place of business after the show or at the venue. If you're an employee of Stevens and you're attending the show on our behalf, shipping will always be handled through the show site manager. For your smaller shows, hotels, you will be responsible for shipping via UPS. And we will definitely guide you and give you all that information that is required to do that.
And it's important for them to make sure that this happens, because if for some reason they forget that and leave it there, they'll be charged for that booth, right?
Absolutely, yeah. We have worked many times in the past few years of setting up UPS to pick up directly from venue sites, and we've actually had quite a bit of trouble with that. So it's more economical for us to actually have the show site manager ship that information back for us, or ship the booth back to us. So let's talk a little bit about promoting your booth. Some of your shows will actually provide you with an attendee list prior to. And if they do provide you with an attendee list prior to, if it also includes the email addresses, that's great. Then you have the actual ability to 1 to 2 weeks prior to the show to actually send an email out to those attendees. Maybe you do it on a mass basis, or if there's specific ones that you're really interested or you're hot buyers, then you can reach out directly to. You can also do that with mailers, but most importantly, you can also work on setting up in-booth appointments. And by setting up in-booth appointments, you can actually schedule whether it's 5, 10, 15-minute increments with some of those top buyers that you're looking for at your show. During the show, you want to make sure that you're giving meaningful giveaways only to your power buyers. Now, your power buyers are defined as your real prospects, those that are capable of actually making the buying decision. And typically, that's only about 5% of your attendees. To reach your market or your attendees after the show, it's best to actually contact them within 15 days, whether that's done via email or phone call. You want to make sure that they're fresh in your mind.
Danielle, with the free email and mailers, you mentioned getting an attendee list and using that. What if they have a database that they keep of those kinds of prospects? Can that also be used?
Absolutely. That can definitely be used. Typically, especially if you're going to a show that you've been to prior to, chances are some of those same attendees are going to attend this show as well as last year's or next year's. So you can definitely touch in and base with them. And that gets into making sure that you're getting the right lead information. So there's a few different ways you can actually collect leads at trade shows with the right and critical information. The ways that you're going to gather leads, like I said earlier, is purchase leads. And sometimes the organization that's hosting the trade show event will provide a free list or the option of purchasing a list that focuses exclusively on the trade show attendees. Typically, there are some stipulations to the number of emails you are allowed to send to these lists. The cost of the list will vary greatly on the organization hosting the event and the number of attendees. If you're going to a larger show, you'll see now that a lot of your trade show managers are actually going towards the lead retrieval scanners. What the lead retrieval scanners allow you to do is spend your time talking to people at trade shows instead of managing the cards and jotting down notes. With the lead retrieval scanner, you can scan the attendee's badge, you can capture their information with the device, and then after the show, the leads that are collected are available in a handy customizable format that usually includes all the information you need to follow up with. You can now rent lead retrieval scanners at most trade shows, and they also provide an app that's available for your smartphone devices. We also provide the lead form available on the Stevens shop. Stevens Marketing has developed this contact lead sheet to provide to you that basically has designed for to keep your hot prospects leads organized. You can use this sheet during the show to keep notes on discussions and active action items with your hot leads, and that can be found right here. We'll just take a quick look at that. So you have the option where you can staple a business card there. You can talk, what is the best way to reach your contact, and then obviously any of the contact information as any key points that you discussed. Because when you do go to a larger show, you're going to have many conversations with different people. So you want to make sure that you have the best way to fill this out. Now, because this isn't a Word document, you can use that on your computer or your smart device, as well as printing them out and having a few on hand. Another way to gain leads from a trade show is your card drawings. However, card drawings are becoming a little bit of a wave of the past. They're still used some today. You can have your card drawings, and when you have visitors drop their business cards into a fishbowl to win a prize, the result is you end up with a collection of business cards of qualified or unqualified leads. So that's one thing to consider when you're doing a drawing at your booth. Now, what data is required and why it's required? If marketing is going to be doing any type of follow-up, especially with your national shows, we need the following information here in order to upload that into our Salesforce, which helps us facilitate email campaigns. And also, if you plan on doing any type of emailing on your behalf, whether it's through Benchmark or Constant Contacts, some of the similar email programs, you're definitely going to want to know the first name, the last name, the company, email, etc. So mostly that direct contact information. Another thing to consider, it's not required, but it's good to have for follow-up, is the website, industry. If you're working with an actual corporation, if it's a B2B show, the number of relocations, domestic or international, number of employees. If you're going to a commercial show and you're trying to gain more commercial business, again, number of employees, cubic feet, etc. So now we're going to take a look a little bit at some trade show do's and don'ts. How we're perceived at trade shows by attendees is 56% based on our behavior. So you want to make sure that you're properly dressed. If you have a team that's going to your show, make sure you coordinate. Do you have business shirts that you could wear? You want to make sure that you're giving off the best posture, not to be sitting at your booth slumped over, or just making sure that you're standing tall and that you're engaging with different attendees that walk past your booth. And your body language says a lot. Standing at your booth with your arms crossed and that It's inviting. You want to be able to actually go out into the aisle, approach people, grab them into your booth, have a discussion with them, shake hands.
So in the booth is not a good time to be checking your text messages and emails, and even if you don't have somebody coming up. Just if your phone's out of sight, then people are not going to be, they won't be interrupting you.
Absolutely. You want to make sure that you always have that smile on your face, and because that shows that you're enthusiastic about being there, that you want to work with these people, that you're interested in their business. Another very important thing is you want to make sure you set yourself some numerical goals, and that goes back to the goals and objectives. You want to make sure that you're following up with them within 15 days after the show. And you want to make sure that you're actually working with those few power buyers versus an entire list of people that may or may not be prospects. And that goes back to the card drawing. Card drawings are great for getting information and leads in. However, they may or may not need your services. They may or may not be moving soon. So if you are able to find a better way to reach those power buyers, that's most important. Make sure that your booth is inviting. Keep the table to the back, banners to the front. You don't want to be a prisoner in your booth. You want to walk around and greet people as they come through. Consider using the 90-second interview technique. And what we mean by that is ask those few questions to determine whether or not this person is a prospect. For instance, if you're going to a B2B show, is yours the type of business that would use my services? If you're going to a COD show, are you going to be moving anytime soon? Do you know of anybody that might be moving anytime soon? Are you accepting a new position anywhere, etc.? You want to be able to ask those questions to get a better idea of whether or not these people will be needing your services anytime soon. Even too, asking some of those questions for your B2B customers. You know, do you have a budget for moving? When do you think you might be buying these services or needing our services? Is it now or sometime in the future? And a very big key thing here, and I know it sounds funny, but don't offer brochures. If you have somebody that comes up to your booth and you give them a brochure right away, it stops the conversation. It's almost like a passport for them to leave your booth. Oh, I have their information. I'll look at it later. You can still give away the client material and brochure, but make sure you're doing it at the end of the conversation to wrap it up and just to reinforce your services. Don't feed the trick-or-treaters. For all of us that have been to trade shows, we know that there are, again, there's only about 5% of those people that are actually interested in your services. Don't invest into providing your attendees with free stuff, because chances are it's going to be a waste of time. You can definitely still keep those pens and things on hand, but maybe give those to people that you're actually having the conversation with, versus having things left out on your table for people just to grab. And of course, you want to limit your leads. It's not quantity, it's definitely quality. A lot of people pride themselves on coming back with a boatload of business cards, but if those boatloads of business cards don't have some of those key buyers or those power buyers in there, then you're not meeting your goals and objectives for attending the show.
And if you haven't qualified somebody to find out if they're do the 90-second interview technique, then you really do just have a blank list of a lot of work to do to find out whether there's a needle in that haystack.
Absolutely. So that wraps up our webcast that we have here for you. We are opening up any, if you have any questions. Go back to the attendees here.
Does anybody have any shows they're going to be going to coming up that you have questions about or materials that you need?
We have unmuted all of you if anybody would like to provide any suggestions or maybe something that might have worked well for you at your trade show. Have any of you used Stephen's materials?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Good. And how did it work for you?
It worked well. A lot of times we use it for the partnership through the for the agents as well as our personal clients.
Great, great. And definitely, too, after your show, if you can provide us with any feedback, we'll definitely reach out to you to find out how your show went. But any feedback you have for us, we'll definitely take.
All right, thank you.
Of course. Okay, well, we will be sending a short survey to all of those that attended the webinar just to get some brief questions to make sure that if you have any additional feedback for us or any future lunch and learns that might be beneficial to you. So we'd like to thank everybody for attending today, and we hope that your next trade show event is successful. If you do have any questions, again, we'll be sending on a survey, but you can reach Monica Slater in our department. That's monica.slater@stevensworldwide.com, or her extension is 391. Correct. All righty, well, thank you, everybody. You have a great day.